Good afternoon, everyone, to Ajax Downs on August the 5th. Beautiful Wednesday here. Looks like we got a great weather day and a fabulous card of racing today. We've got two Ontario-bred futurities in the second and third race today. We've got the Princess Derby. We've got the Ontario Sire Stakes Maturity, the last race on today's card, being race number 8. What a wonderful betting card. I'm Nick COUKOS. My co-host today, of course, as always, Jennifer Morrison. Jennifer, can you hear me? Where are you, Jennifer?
I'm always somewhere different, aren't I, Nick? Well, today I'm up in the beautiful VIP room. You can't really see it. I was hoping that they could pan out a bit. But anyways, I'm sitting in the VIP room, and hopefully we'll have some people in here very soon to watch the races live with us. But yeah, you're right, Nick. It's we got a breezy day, but it's perfect. It's not too hot. It's just sunny, some clouds. The track is fast. And what a stakes card we got today. The Princess Derby, a race that was brought back this year after a few years off the schedule. $54,500 up for grabs for the fillies today. 9 of them going for that purse money.
Yeah, we've got a lot of homebreds running today. Of course, the futurity races, both of them are Ontario-bred races, the two trials, and then, of course, the Ontario Sire Stake race. So we've got a homegrown crowd today, as our Premier says. We've got to make everything in Ontario, and we're going to listen to Doug Ford, and we're going to produce a lot in Ontario. Now, if you're a gambler, today's a good day to gamble. We've got a great pick for the last 4 races on today's card. And, of course, the pick 3, which is the first pick 3 on today's card, is race 2, 3, and 4. And we have a second pick 3, races 7, 8, and 9. Let's get right in here. Race number 1, Speed Index event. These are 3-year-olds and up, 70 and under the Speed Index number. And we're going to have a heavy favorite in here in the 5-horse Chalea Pepper, Ramiro, Sanchez, Castillo riding for trainer Bob Broadstock.
Yeah, you're right, Nick. We're going to start the day off with just a small group, but, Chili Pepper should be pretty much the most logical winner today, I think. It seems almost impossible that she cannot beat this field today. She lost by a nose last time when she took the class drop to this level, but her start from the gate was a bit messy. She was bumped and pushed out by a horse to her inside. Maybe it cost her the win because she lost by a nose, and I'm not sure if there's a speed index that shows up on your papers there, Nick, but it's about a 76. It said hand time, but it's a 76 according to my calculations.
Yeah, there's no number in the Equibase program because it was a hand time race. I picked against the horse. I know it's probably not too smart of me to do that, but I went with the 3-horse Shake Some Sugar. This horse has won 6 races lifetime, has won more races than every other horse in here combined. The Joe Tavares barn has really gotten off to a slow start this year. I'm not sure if the horse will be ready to rock and roll today, but does have some class drop, is a 7-year-old gelding, a lot of experience making his 46th lifetime start, but there's no question. The 5 is the horse to beat, but he is going to be the heavy favorite. I just try to take a shot to try to beat the heavy favorite. Let's move on to race number 2, the first of our 2 futurity trials on today's card. Purse is $9,000. And, of course, for those of you who are new to quarter horse racing, futurity, of course, means 2-year-olds. So they're the babies around here. And, in quarter horse racing, futurities are very, very important. Probably the most prestigious of all races in the quarter horse world. We see $1 million futurities down in Oklahoma and, other parts of the southern U.S. And no different here. Our futurities are very, very important. Very, very tough race number 2. I took a shot in here. I picked the 4-horse, first-time starter, Cory Spataro, riding for trainer Barry Wood. I liked the horse's work last time. The horse worked tremendous. Is he good enough to beat some seasoned horses? I don't know. But I took a shot in here. I know, Jennifer, you want to talk a little bit about some horses in here, and you want to show a replay as well.
Yeah, sorry there, Nick. Yes, I'm going to show a replay. This is the first division of the 2 trials, the first trial, I should say, and the top 10 speed times advanced to the final for August 26th, I believe. So, yeah, there's only 2 horses in this race that haven't raced before. I'm going to show you the same race for this trial and for the next trial. Let's focus in on July 15th, the first race. I want you to watch the 3-horse. This is Had to Be Relentless. This is the half-brother to Horse of the Year, Had to Be Ivory. This is a very large 2-year-old. Okay, now just don't worry about the other horses, but he takes a little while to get going here. He's chasing a horse by the name of Country Fried Chicken on the inside. His stablemate actually wins on the outside, Whiskey James, but Had to Be Relentless. I mean, this horse, not only is he a spitting image of Had to Be Ivory, but he is very large. And you know what? He'll probably want more distance. But I love his stride here and the way that he does gain. He's not as quick as his stablemate, but I think he can build off of that race. So I picked Had to Be Relentless, and first-time Lasix for the Bryn Robertson barn. I like your horse a bit, Bogie Wheels there, Nick. The black gelding is a half-brother, of course, to Home to Vegas, who was a very top 2-year-old a few years ago. He won 5 of 6 races. And like you said, the horse had a good workout time on July 6th. So I think the horse that might take the most betting support is Memory of Griffin, the 3-horse from the Lettinen barn. This fellow ran twice at Remington Park before he came here July 1st and was fractious in the gate before that race, but finished well to be third as the heavy favorite. And I think the extra distance, moving from 250 to 300 yards, will help him.
Oh, there's no question about that. And this horse did have 2 tighteners down at Remington Park. So I think this horse will definitely move forward today, Memory of Griffith, and really is the horse to beat if you look at it. But I do like the 6-horse as well, Had to Be Relentless. But I'm like you. I'm of your mindset. To me, and I know we're going 300 yards, it just seems like he's going to want more ground. And I think once we go out to about 330 or 350, this horse is going to be a force to be reckoned with. But who knows? I mean, he may be able to get up in time today. Race number 2 is the second of our 2 futurity trials on today's card. This race here, another Eric Lettinen horse that I think will be favorite is the 3-horse Perrier Special. Again, Ramiro, Sanchez, Castillo. This horse did win a race in Remington back on May the 23rd. That's impressive to me. He stumbled that day. He motored on, as the chart would say. That's pretty impressive to stumble and win a quarter-horse race going 330. But I will notice one thing about this horse: no Lasix today.
Yeah, well, Perrier Special, if you had watched the replay, you have to watch this replay. It is very impressive. Ontario-bred fellow, second start of his life at Remington Park. He did bobble, I don't know if he stumbled, but he bobbled pretty good. But he was a good, I know the chart says a neck, but he was a good length or more behind the field and really rumbled on for the win. And it was very impressive the way he did it, 15-1. I'm not worried about no Lasix, 2-year-old, but, I am worried about the fact, it doesn't seem to be a lot of workouts. I see one published workout. There hasn't been a lot of training as far as workouts at the track since May 23rd. But 300 yards, he's got experience. He's definitely the horse to beat. Let's show a replay, the same one I just showed. But we have a whole bunch of other horses that are in this race. Whiskey James from the 5-hole. We have Cool Castillo, Sunday Quickie, and of course Country Fried Chicken. And I want to show him because he's in the 4-post, and he was, one of the favorites that day. And telling you, if he didn't spend the whole race going from his 4-path to the rail, he probably would have won this race by a nose instead of losing by a nose to Whiskey James. So Country Fried Chicken leading most of the way, owned and bred by Milena Fitchin, and he ran a great race. Now, of course, that's 300 yards. We're back at 300 yards, and he's going to have Whiskey James pursuing him again. But this time, Whiskey James is on the rail, so we'll see how that works. And the first-time starters, I think we should look at Twixt of Fate. I think is well regarded. Richard Winsakabi, 2-year-old. This horse has great breeding out of a mare by the name of Isa Quick, and she's produced horses like Isa Really Quick. later tater. In fact, she's produced 4 good winners, and all of them finished second in their first career starts. And I'm pretty sure they think Twixt of Fate has got some ability here, and that's one to consider.
Yeah, just another note on Country Fried Chicken, and thanks for showing that replay, Jennifer. This horse again gets the outside, so I hope if this whole horse decides to do the same thing it did last time, that it does put on its left turn signal, because that's pretty dangerous when you got 6 inside of you and you want to go to the fence. The only other horse I want to mention in here is the 5-horse Zuri's Royalty, making the first start this year for trainer Kate Romanenko. Kate, no shoes, Romanenko.
Yeah.
Her horses don't wear shoes, so this horse will not be wearing shoes today. I'm presuming. I better check with that, but I don't think Kate puts shoes on her horse's front shoes anyways.
No, there's no shoes on the horse, it says in the program there. And,
there you go. If I read the program, I'd be on the ball.
Very attractive horse, too. I've seen pictures of this fellow. It's a full brother to a horse that placed. So, yeah, interesting, though. No shoes, so he'll be at the beach.
Okay, let's move on to race number 5. Race number 5 is actually now down to a 4-horse field. The 1-horse Legacy of the Moon has been scratched. Unfortunately, it's a 4-horse field because my best bet's in here. The 5-horse Eagle River Cowboy. I can't see this horse getting beat. Can you? Is there anything that can beat this horse?
Well, it's race 4. Yeah.
Race 4.
And,
there you go. Well, I got the wrong race. So, geez, if you're going to your HPI, make sure it's race 4, not 5, guys.
Yeah, so unfortunately it's a 4-horse field, so it's 400 yards, and thank goodness we're finally seeing some longer races here, because this makes the racing more interesting. And 400 yards isn't even actually quite a quarter of a mile yet. You have to get to 440 to have a quarter-mile race. So, yeah, there's 2 horses coming out of the same race that was only a week ago: Eagle River Cowboy and Sweet Night Fever. Eagle River Cowboy, 2 starts since he was brought up here by Scott Reed. John Wilson purchased him over the winter at a sale, and both times, kind of unlucky not to win. He went straight up in the air a little bit in his last race there and closed mildly. He's going to love the distance. Yeah, I think he's going to be a punctual choice. So, key him in the first pick 3 and go from there. Sweet Night Fever has disappointed me this year, Nikki. He was stakes place last year, 3rd in the Alex Peacock Futurity. And, I can't really find out what's going on here, except for maybe he just wants the 400-yard distance. And so he comes back in a week, second time with the blinkers back on for Craig Spada.
Yeah, that's a really good point. There's only 2 horses that have even tried the distance, the 3 and the 5. And the 3 has got a 3rd at the distance, and that was in a stake race in the Alex Peacock Futurity. So, he is going to be the horse to beat, but I just think Eagle River Cowboy gets a really good post position. He's outside. He can see all 3 of them to the inside, and jockey Brian Bell is just going to be going all out to win this race for trainer Scott Reed. Let's move on to race number 5, the start of today's pick 4, and this is just a wonderful pick 4 with 2 stake races. We've got a real good betting card today, especially the latter half of this card, and this is an allowance race, 3-year-olds and up. Never won 2 races lifetime, and we've got some horses that have broken their maiden recently, and I'm going to start off with the 6-horse BF Classy James. Helen Vanek retains the mount for trainer Jason Pasco.
Yeah, this horse has been a nice purchase for Bob Bailey over the winter. He's come here, and the horse has finished 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and consistent speed index numbers there. 2 starts ago, 3rd to Tempting First Dash, who we'll see in the Princess Derby and will be favored. So BF Classy James trying another distance here, 300 yards. And, he's been busy this season. He was dueling on the lead in his latest, but was caught late by Louis Armstrong TLC. But he's got a nice post here. Helen Vanek knows him well, and I think he's going to be prominent throughout the 300 yards. But I'm leaning towards the hottest barn going right now, at least for the last 2 weeks, and that's that of Rick Crispy and trainer Tom Dunlop. They've won between them 6 races in the last 2 weeks. So I'm picking one of my favorites, and her name is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I was going to say, who's one of your favorites? It's the 3 horse. You're right. I mean, this barn has been on fire lately. They got off to a very slow start this year, but they've really picked it up in the last couple of weeks. This mare, this 4-year-old mare, she's only raced 4 times in her life, but she's never been worse than second. You want to talk about consistency. Here you go. This horse, this mare is very, very consistent. And interesting, this mare was bred by Jamie and Carol Robertson, of course. The Robinson family has bred some really, really nice horses in Ontario over the last couple of years. I did pick the horse. I went a little different for second. I ended up with the 2 horse I Am Potato, or I Am Potato, depending on how you pronounce that. This is a horse that's really interesting to me. Coming out of a 110, stretches out to 300.
Yeah, just going back to one of my favorites a bit, I thought her season debut was super. She was bumped a little bit at the start and then had a very strong finish in that race. So I think she's got a clear path to go forward here. But I Am Potato, I really wanted to pick him closer than third because, yeah, that was a great race. And never mind that, 2 starts ago, he gave Stakes Winner Shake It twice, everything she could handle that day, and just battled her to the wire. And his speed index was 92. But yeah, then he came back in the 110. It was a super effort. You know, he finished last, but he was beaten like just over a half a length to Carnero. So very, very quick horse. The one to catch here. You know, but I think BF Classy James and one of my favorites will be right there with him.
I agree. Okay, let's move on to race number 6, the first of our 2 stake races on today's program. The 8th running of the Princess Derby, $54,550 up for grabs. We do have one scratch in here. The 4 horse Silken Siri has been scratched, and I know you want to show a replay, but before we get to that, boy, the 7 horse Tempting First Dash has been just, she's just been amazing ever since she's come to Ajax Downs with 3 for 3 and getting better every week.
Well, what a purchase by Scott Reed over the winter at that sale. You know, we had a lot of locals go down to the Oklahoma sales and other sales and buy horses to bring here because, you know, the horse population, and this has been a real gold mine for him so far. 3 starts and 3 wins, and, you know, she's going to be heavily favored here. I'm going to show you both trials here. You know, and we've all picked Tempting First Dash. Her trial was a tinsy bit slower, but watch the way she won it. First of all, let's watch the first trial. And the first one we're going to see here is we have Pretty Runaway on the rail. Virtuosi is in the 2 path. And then we have Whiteside out on the 7 hole here. And I want to watch, first watch Pretty Runaway. This is a very improved effort by this filly. And she had a flipping halter on in this race. So she was well behaved because she's a very feisty filly. And she gets locked in the duel with Virtuosi. We expected a lot more from Whiteside on the far outside there, but she was a little bit flat off of the maiden win. But I am expecting a sharper and stronger rally from her. She broke a bit outward. Interesting that Silken Siri, who ran so well, won her first 2 starts and then ran so well here with the yellow cap, she's been scratched, and it's only because they just would rather run her in some other races later this year. So it's a bit interesting that they're passing on this rich race. Maybe they think they can't beat Tempting First Dash or Virtuosi, but so that was a good first trial there. I'm looking at Virtuosi, Pretty Runaway, and then Whiteside on the outside. But let's watch Tempting First Dash, Nick, in the second trial. And we'll just wait for the guys to flip it over. And Tempting First Dash is going to be starting from the far outside, post 7, as soon as we can flip it over. But yeah, Tempting First Dash, really well bred too. Just a rich, rich pedigree page on this filly. Okay, guys, you can switch over the replay now to the next trial. Here we go. Okay. So we got the second trial coming up here. Again, Tempting First Dash is in the 7 post. And One Cool Dynasty is in the 2 post. But let's watch Tempting First Dash and Brian Bell first of all. A little bit outwards, but, you know, no panic there. We had some action on the inside. We had She's Perry Feisty breaking sharply from the inside. One Cool Dynasty But Brian Bell is just, just shakes the lines at her a little bit, and she just wins so easily. And she just looks like a racy horse there, Nick. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. That was very, very impressive. It certainly didn't hurt that the 3 came out, the 6 came in, and the 3, 4, 5, and 6 got into a little bit of trouble. I don't think it would have made a difference, but it was really a nice, clear run for this horse and Brian Bell. I mean, like you said, this horse, I never went to his whip. I mean, just won very convincingly, as it says, and is going to be tough in here. But it is a 9-horse field. This horse is in the middle, so who knows? I mean, one thing about quarter horse racing, you don't get a good break. It's kind of tough sometimes to make it up. So, you still need that clean break. And who knows what happens here? One thing I was looking at also the 9 and 10 in here, One Cool Dynasty, who we just saw in one of your replays. This horse did have the 2-hole last time. Now comes to the outside. I think this is going to benefit this horse a lot. And, she's been really, really consistent this year. She's had 3 starts with a win in 2 seconds. So she's right there. Helen Vanek, who's just, in my mind, a tremendous jockey, gets the mount, gets the outside post. And, of course, the 10-horse, she's pretty feisty, coming out of another barn that's been red hot all year, Rick Kennedy's barn.
Yeah, there's several, other ones, upset possibilities. If you think that Tempting First Dash might be vulnerable a bit, just because maybe she won so easily last time because the other horses were smashing into each other.
Exactly.
I think One Cool Dynasty is a quality horse, half-sister to that great champion, One Cool Wave, bred by the Taggart family. So, yeah, she's one to consider. I mean, what do you do in the pick 4 here? This is the second leg of the pick 4. Do you key Tempting First Dash? Do you use 2 or 3?
Well, I think that's it right there. Either you key or you do a spread, and the only good thing with the pick 4 is if you get knocked out in the 5th, you can start in the 6th with a new pick 3. So you'll have choice number 2 on your wagering, which is going to be kind of nice. Let's move on to race number 7, a maiden event. These are Ontario-bred maidens, so we have a lot of Ontario racing today, which is just fabulous because I'm a big supporter of Ontario racing. Ontario racing means that there's a lot of jobs that have been come together because of racing in this province, and one thing we need during this pandemic year is jobs, that's for sure. And this race here, 300 yards for Ontario breds. I went with the 5-horse Captain Carver, Eddie Walton, riding for trainer Michelle Woodley, who is one of the best trainers on the grounds.
Yeah, Captain Carver is my selection as well here, and I think it's possible that you could key this horse in your pick 4 with an asterisk, because I think the 7-horse Bulldog is a contender as well. But Captain Carver is a big, strong 4-year-old gelding who missed all of 2019. Mm-hmm. But what a good return he had for Michelle Woodley, who took over the training for owner Richard Winsakabi. Now, remember, Captain Carver out of that mare, Easily Holland. We've already seen that her 2-year-old is running in one of the trials today, Whiskey James, and her 2-year-old of last year, Easy Street, was undefeated until recently. So Captain Carver's got all the pedigree. He's got the looks. He ran a super race, finishing quite well to One Cool Dynasty in his season debut off the long layoff. And we'll get a chance to see how One Cool Dynasty does, but he could be a key, Nick.
He could be. There's no question about that. My only, of course, concern is he did race. He had a 2-year layoff, 18 to 20. It could bounce too, because that race he ran last time was a really good race. That was a real tough field with One Cool Dynasty and Red Wagon Dust. Could be a bit of a bounce, but this horse has been off for almost a month, so I'm sure Michelle has made sure that this horse is ready to rock today.
I'm just going to mention Bulldog. She was 1 to 2 when she was supposed to race not long ago there. I don't have the date here, but she was supposed to race about 2 weeks ago. She was 1 to 2.
I bet you it was on a Wednesday.
It was definitely on a Wednesday.
She was
1 to 2 behind the gate, and another horse got all upset and was rearing up. and Bulldog lost the rider and got loose briefly, and for whatever reason was scratched behind the gate. And boy, that was a lot of money. The bettors were all in on Bulldog that day, but she ran very well behind Captain Carver in her season debut, so she's one to consider.
Interesting name, actually, Bulldog. This horse was bred by Marie Broadstock. Just curious why they name a horse called Bulldog. It doesn't seem to be where they would come from, but you never know. I got to ask Bob. Bob, what's with the Bulldog name? Let's move on to race number 8, the final race on today's card of racing. This is the maturity, the 8th running of the Ontario Sire Stakes maturity. Again, more Ontario product out here today, and of course, this is a race that I think is a lot tougher than what it seems. I know the program has gone with Ghost Pines and Sugarman's Delight, our top 2 selections. Feisty Icon got beat last time. Was disappointed, but I'm hoping he can bounce back today. What say you, Jen?
Well, these are the best Ontario-sired older horses around. In fact, these are most of the best older horses on the ground. We're only missing 2 of them, and both of them are American-sired. But this is a great field. Feisty Icon's won this race a couple of times. Feisty Icon won this race last year.
Right.
And, for whatever reason, he just didn't quite surge as strongly last time when Gatlinburg scored the upset win. But I think Feisty Icon will be 4-5 in this race, heavily favored. I think Ghost Pines has got a reasonable chance to hit the Superfecta. I like a horse by the name of Night Fishin' as my long shot pick. She won this race 2 years ago when she was trained by Greg Watson, and Corinne Andros rode her to victory in this race, defeating none other than Feisty Icon. And if I had time, I would show you Night Fishin's replay from her last race. It was quite remarkable. She really, really stumbled badly. She got up, she was leading, and then she was caught on the wire. Oh, and the winner that day was One Famous Glass.
Wow.
How do you like that?
I do like that a lot. I mean, that's pretty impressive. You know what? I went with a long shot for second as well, but I more and more think about it, I might be betting this horse to win. I went with the one horse, Shake It Twice. I'll tell you, this horse she's only had 11 lifetime starts. 5 wins, 3 seconds, and a third. I mean, she ran a real stinker back on June the 24th. I don't know what happened that day, but I'm telling you, something happened, and I'm just going to throw that race out, pretend it didn't happen at all, because you know what? She ran pretty good last time. I know she beat I Am Potato, which is not really this caliber. Trez on Fire is not a bad horse, but gets the rail, has got some speed, maybe the horse that you might have to run down in here.
Well, Shake It Twice is a wonderful, wonderful filly. Her name is Ella, and one of the top 3-year-olds of last year. It's safe to say that I could guess what happened in her first start because she was first-time Lasix last time.
Right.
And her season debut, Chicks Dig My Money Bags, was long gone, and she had no chance into that headwind. So last time she broke like a bullet from the rail. She was gone, 96 speed index. Yeah, I know she didn't beat horses like Feisty Icon or anything like that, but I'd watch out for her because she's in top form right now. Yeah,
I think it's a tremendous race, and I don't think Feisty Icon's going to be 4-5 because I just think that there's so many other possibilities. And although I like the horse and he's been wonderful, tremendous, this is a tough race and it's a 10-horse field. I guarantee you one thing: if you're stuck on the day and you catch the 8th race trifecta or superfecta, you're going to have a really nice payoff because, boy, something funny is going to happen in this race. If it's not in the front end, it's going to be in the back end. Might make for a decent payoff on today's card. There you go. Great card of racing today here at Ajax Sounds. We got great betting opportunities, and on behalf of Jennifer and I, thanks for joining us during Talking Quarters. We're going to be with you all day and giving you insight throughout the day. We'll see you after race number 1.